Hello everyone, this is Tanya here with my county link, and today I'm super excited. We're going to be giving our very first recipient the Impactful Rippler Award. So if you've been watching us online and you've been seeing that, you know a little bit about that. If you're new and you're wondering, what is the Impactful Rippler? Well, we have a nomination form right on our website. Clear to the right hand side on the home page, you'll see Impactful Rippler. You can click on there and you can nominate somebody. So what is an Impactful Rippler? An Impactful Rippler is someone who impacts their community in some positive way. Not just someone who does something good, right? We all enjoy people who do good things, we want to do good things, etc. The Impactful Rippler is more, think of like if you drop a pebble in the water and it ripples out. That's what we're looking for an Impactful Rippler. And I think that's going to be really fun because we're going to really find some people doing some really cool things that maybe we didn't even know was happening, right? So an Impactful Rippler, they do something that creates positive change and impact for the good for people, and then that ripples on to something else. Whether somebody else takes that and puts it into their community, or if that person kind of gets creative and does something else with that, it creates an impactful ripple. So that is what we are doing today. We have our very first one that we're doing today, our recipient. So we're going to go up and we're going to show you here in a little bit. But I wanted to also show you what we're going to be giving. We have Billers Stamps and Engraving, who has a great business that you can add a little personal touch to your business and your gifts that you have. And we also have Keller Grain and Feed Incorporated as our sponsors for this month's recipient, and we are going to be giving them, and this also was created by Biller Stamps and Engraving. We have this great Impactful Rippler thermos, little tumbler I guess you would say, that they're going to get, and this is our sweet logo, so we're going to have that right there. And then we also are going to be providing them with a cute keychain. So we want them to use these proudly out and about in the community, and maybe you'll ask them what that's about. And also what you can do when you watch this today, you can get behind this movement. You can learn more about them and see if it's something that you might want to get behind and see where you can help. So stay with us. We're gonna go surprise them. Surprise! Hello, we're back. So we're here with our very first recipient, Heather Suerdieck, and she is here with Inside Out Coaching. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why you were nominated, Heather. Okay. So first, congratulations on being our very first one. So some nominations that came in was that Heather has a great impact on her youth right here in the community. So she's going to hit a little bit about that, how she helps and works at the Greenville High School. And then she has her Inside Out Coaching we're going to talk about, and these great You Matter bracelets, right? So you may have seen those. We've done press releases on our site. We've got them on our socials and so forth. She's got them on hers. They're in the community at some of the stores that she'll touch on that we can purchase them at. And we're going to talk about what that is. To me, it's the perfect Impactful Rippler, right? Because somebody gets this bracelet, it says You Matter. She's going to explain to us where those words came from, which is very sweet. And then every day you see that, and it changes the way maybe your day starts. It also changes the way you look at other people, I think. And then also, then that bracelet goes to somebody else and so forth. And she'll kind of explain how that does. And that's what I'm talking about when I say an Impactful Rippler. Somebody who makes an impact, but then it ripples out. So, Heather, tell us all those three things that are right. I know it was a lot.
No,
right?
That's great. So how much time do you want me to take? Because
Right.
I'm chatty.
I get it.
Anyone who knows me knows that I just have a problem.
But you're
with
also,
it.
some of the other things that was said about you is that when you really say to somebody, how can I help you? You mean that. That it's not just, I'll pray for you or I'll do this for you. It's how can I help you? Like she really means that. And not that she doesn't pray for you, but sometimes we say things kind of flippantly, I'll say. And when she says, how can I help you? How can I pray for you? What can I do for you? She means that. So she may touch a little bit on it, but I've heard her personally say things like, it's not my project, it's God's project. Yeah. So it'll just work, right? And then another sentence that somebody had shared with was, every day she gets up to make the world a better place.
You know what? Y'all are going to make me cry.
So, great things, right? So let's hear from you. So let's just go in order. Let's talk about what you do at the Greenville High School.
Well, and if I can just add a little nugget.
Absolutely.
So when I started, I had some amazing people within the community that helped grow my Ripple.
Okay.
Right? So Sarah Royer, if you guys know her.
Yes.
She gave me this space to try life coaching at the Natural Path. So that was a huge blessing. Even people within the community to give you that chance when you don't know what you're doing yet. Right? And I still don't know what I'm doing. But so then I started prototyping a graduation coaching program with Andrea Townsend at Greenville City Schools. So what I do is I meet with seniors who maybe have had some traumatic events in their life, struggles to get to graduation. They've got to overcome some roadblocks, both academically and life, and get them to graduation is the goal. So over the last 3 years, this program has grown, and we've had students who were pregnant during COVID and got to graduation, got back on track. But it's basically meeting with them once a week and almost giving them that non-judgmental space and having a cheerleader and a support. So I'm an extension of the guidance counselor's office.
Okay.
So the graduation coaching program is now open to some seniors and that are credit deficient and that have some struggles, and then freshmen we added this year too.
Great.
Also some 8th graders. So I'm kind of being utilized in different ways. It's just such a great program. Like, I wish I had me in school. Just think about things differently, and being outside of their everyday life is what makes it different. It's like, how do you give somebody hope and the ability to believe in themselves? It's giving them the space to think about themselves. And I think that's why it works and why it's really powerful. So I counted last night. So I think I've seen 24 students, and I work a day and a half a week. And it's just like a God thing. Like, graduation day is like Christmas for me.
Yes,
I really,
sure.
like,
I'm
I bring
sure.
the cowbell. Like, I feel like I can feel like God is like high-fiving me. Like, yes, because a lot of these kids, like, to see that pride and what they've overcome. I mean, it is
emotional too.
Oh my gosh. It's my jam. I love it.
Another ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
Because now they go, somebody believed in them, somebody helped them. They can go and pursue other dreams, other avenues, and they'll take that with them, and they'll do the same thing for somebody else. Huge ripple effect. So now let's go to a little bit about what your Inside Out coaching is.
Yep. So, and as I am growing, I'm learning. So, like, when people say, what's your niche? I don't like to limit myself.
Sure.
So I'm
because you're very creative. You're very creative. And I like that you like to jump sometimes before it's all figured out.
Yes,
because
that's true.
The goal is still here. The end goal is here. It's just like coaching, right? You got to navigate to get there. I love that you jump with the goal in mind, and you'll figure the rest out as you go.
I think my husband doesn't like that so much. I think the biggest thing is like meeting yourself where you're at. So even myself, right? Meeting my business where it's at. So what I'm currently doing, and I still feel very called to do the graduation coaching at Greenville for a day and a half. I do some subcontracted work for the economic development with meeting facilitation and manufacturing camp in the summer, which is so great because our community is very heavy in manufacturing and making that connection. I have some private business and leadership clients, and then I do motivational speaking, which I just got asked to do an assembly for Career Day down in Dayton. That's 330 kids.
Oh, you're gonna rock it. You're gonna rock it.
You're
gonna rock it.
How do you keep that engagement going with the kids? And it's just like, I love it. It's fun. And that's what, I never feel like it's a job, so I don't know. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm still trying to like find out from God, the directions of where he wants me to serve. But sometimes I feel like when people come into my path, there's a reason,
that's
right? I'm supposed to help them move through a roadblock or whatever. So I'm still trying to figure all of that out.
I love that. But who knows where it'll go? That's the thing.
That's true.
Who thought you were going to be speaking to students, right? So really cool. So now let's move to the You Matter bracelets.
Yeah.
And I know your son is a huge part of these words.
Yeah.
And then we also just ran an article, if you haven't seen it yet, on her son delivering these at the local children's hospital. So we'll kind of hit on all that. So tell us about how it got started, where we can get them, what it means, anything you want to say.
Okay, great. So this is going to be a little chatty, so you may have to edit some of this out. So back last December, so December 2021, that would have been? Yeah. I was like standing at a crossroads, and when you stand at a crossroads, it feels very heavy of, do I move my business in this direction or do I move it in a different direction? And I just kind of prayed about it, and I had a dream, and I think I've shared that with you. So I had a dream, and I'm just going to share it. Yes. So my dad passed away. He was a cop when I was 7, and I have never dreamt about my dad other than like maybe being alive, but never like where he was talking to me. And in this dream, he was talking to me. So I'm like, all right, God has sent my dad to tell me something, right? And I remember hearing his voice, but I didn't know what he said to me.
Ah, okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, that's helpful. Thanks, which it's not. So then I spent the next couple of days trying to get back into that daydream zone, and I finally got there. And in the original dream, I was sitting on the ground and he was sitting on a bench. This time, I was sitting beside him. And I said, tell me what you were telling me. And he said, do what makes you happy. And it's so simple, right?
It is.
And I'm like, well, what is that?
It sounds simple.
It sounds simple, but what is that? And I had been thinking about doing some inspirational wear.
Okay.
And I felt like that was kind of a sign to move that forward. And then a couple of days, I was cleaning my room and I found a sign, and guess what it said? Do what makes you happy. I didn't even know I had the thing. And the same day, the raw bracelets showed up. So I'm like, I'm just going to try it, right? Yeah. Easy to do, easy to undo.
Right.
So I made all of these different sayings. There was like 20 of them on a page. And I asked my son, who was 9 at the time, I said, buddy, if somebody was struggling, what would you say to them? And he said, you matter. Because Mom, sometimes we forget that we matter. And I'm like,
out of the mouth of a
it's
baby,
so easy, right?
I mean, yeah.
Because we overcomplicate things all the time.
We do.
So I'm like, all right, let's do that. And then so partnered with Billers Stamps and Engraving, Maria Moore. If you guys don't know her, she is so awesome.
Yeah, you may be surprised when you open your gifts. She helped me with creating what we give. We talked about it earlier. You saw it, but she hasn't yet. So she created those, and we worked together and made these really cool gifts to give our recipients. So
I'm excited.
We're gonna have you open it here at the end, but you'll see it.
She's great.
And she's lovely.
Talked about these bracelets at a meeting, and Sarah Royer again, right?
Yeah.
Had said, hey, let's put them in the store. So they started in 423 down in Greenville, and they're still there, the leather ones. And then we started a give back program where we would give back bracelets to the schools. So that's how it started. And then we just I said, well, if all the communities want to help be a part of this, because a lot of times we're just looking for that easy button, right? To support. Everybody wants to support kids. So there was a hub where you could buy bracelets in each community. So in Arcana, it's 401 Apparel. In Versailles, it's the Blue Willow. Ansonia, it's Ashes to Beauty. And then Greenville, it's 423. The Bread of Life also has the silicone bracelets.
Okay.
So in May, worked with some businesses to sponsor some bracelets just to get more out there. And we did grades 9 through 12 in all 8 schools. So that was like 2,500 students. And then in the fall, we did it again, and we did grades 8 and 9 since it was a new school year. And then based off of just these ripples that are going on, Eaton, there was an Eaton business owner that hit me up about sponsoring all of Eaton schools, which was so cool because it's like I've never had anybody want to do the whole school. Right. And it's just like this ripple, and it's just, it's so easy. And I find that where it's hard, I'm leading.
Okay, that makes sense.
Where it's easy, I really feel like God is leading, right? You just got to make the space for him. So since last May, we're actually at almost 9,000 bracelets now.
Did you hear that? 9,000 bracelets.
So super excited about that. And then we have the Dayton speaking thing that's going to happen in May. That's going to be over 300. And then I'm looking for some sponsors still for our May distribution. We're going to do grades K through 7. So that's about 4,500 bracelets. So in 1 year, my goal was to get every student in the public schools in Darke County a You Matter bracelet. So as we're growing this message too, right? It's like the You Matter movement. So we're also in parallel working on a video that will then get a QR code and go in with the bracelets. Because, you have those days where you struggle. And this message is, even if you're 4 or you're 94, right? Like, what would be different if you remembered that you mattered? Right. And my son said something to me, the 9-year-old, and he goes, I don't think people do drugs anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, tell me more. He goes, think about it. If they thought that they mattered, would they turn to drugs? And I'm like, man, like, it blows my mind. Like, kids get it. And at some point we lose hope in our journeys.
And sometimes the world makes us a little harder than we should be. So, they're so young, and that when we see, and like you said, 2 simple words that he says, you matter. As adults, we need to see that to also see the world differently. And I'm going to tag on a little bit because I think it's great for you out there, churches, businesses, and so forth. Consider getting a box yourselves, passing it out to your employers, passing it out to your congregation. Maybe if you're not the one that's aware it all the time, I've given so many of these away to people that I've come across. Whatever, you're out and about in the world, whether it's a kid, it's an adult, just hand them that bracelet and just tell them to have a good day, and they can see those words. They're very powerful. They're very powerful.
Yeah.
And then tell us about your son and what he did at the hospital.
Yep. And just a nugget real fast. So when I do sell the bracelets,
yes.
$1 of the silicone bracelets goes back to buying more bracelets for students. We're going to move out of Darke County after this distribution and really focus on giving students in other counties bracelets. And then the leather ones are $2. And then we actually have a clothing line of Ripple wear. So it'll be student gear, and it's like having an inspirational billboard wherever you go, right? So I just wanted to...
I'm excited about it.
It wasn't even on my plate. It was just
it's gonna be fun.
That came up because my son, who has been kind of the one that I have two, but one is like, hey, I'm all about it. The other one's like, no, I'm too.
I'll support you from here.
I'm too cool for that, Mom. Which is fine. It's not his jam. But I said, hey, let's make a goal around the You Matter project. Well, he had been in Dayton Children's in December with some medical stuff, and he looked at me and he goes, hey, we should bring some bracelets down here. So when I asked him in January, I said, I want you to create a goal. I'll buy the bracelets. You can pick the color. You bag them. And it comes with an inspirational pocket card too. Yeah. And so he picked some colors and he said, I want to do 500 to Dayton Children's. I was like, all right, let's do it. So he bagged bracelets at home. He wrote a letter, which I didn't help him at all with that letter. And that's so seeing that reflection of, he understands that those words matter. Like, even, 10-year-olds are turds sometimes. I think we all know that, right? But it's like, how do you grow values in your kids? And then that ripples. Like, they get it. I got to see a reflection of what was sticking with him. And for me, that was something that I never expected. But we went to Children's, and he couldn't pass them out because of just like different people being sick and stuff. But there was multiple staff that he got to read the letter to, and he got to do a picture, and it's just, you have to show them. So it's not just like saying, hey, I want you to have this value. It's how do you incorporate that so that it ripples. And somebody said something to me one time, and it was very powerful, and I was like, but they're right. It's a multi-generational impact. Whether it's the school coaching or it's the bracelet thing, like, at the end of the day, like, these are the things that unite all of us and make us better. We show up better, So I was very proud of him that he kind of stepped into that, and we had gotten him shirts for that day.
Oh, fun.
That's how the clothing thing came up. Okay. People said they wanted to buy the shirts, and I'm like, all right, God, that wasn't in my strategic plan.
Planning on that. That's great. That is great. Yeah, because here's the thing, though. It's the same message. It's just in a different format. So some people may prefer to wear t-shirts or t-shirts at camps or all of that, and it just is another kind of, I'll say, another ripple to the You Matter movement, right?
Yeah. So it's the inspirational card that's on the back of the shirt.
On the back. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, what a cool kid. What a cool mom, right? What a cool mom.
It takes a village. He has a great family, and I think at the end of the day, I think it's God. Like, you start listening differently, and he starts showing you things differently. And some stuff comes in your path. I feel like sometimes when you make a plan, they say, like, if you make a plan, God laughs. Right. That's totally true. Because I was, like, strategically planning stuff, and then you just kind of got to pivot and go with it.
Yep. And what you can't do and never thought you could do, he can, right?
Yeah.
And that's how that avenue goes. And that's another thing I feel about the Impactful Rippler is there's enough icky in the world, right? But what are we doing about it? Are we just talking about it, or are we just kind of pushing it off to the side? You're not. You're in the thick of it. And that's what we want to do. We want to bring good news to people. We want to show people that they matter. So again, congratulations on being our first recipient. Don't forget, you can always go back on and nominate for our next month. We've gotten some coming in, so keep them coming. And if your person wasn't chosen, they don't get kicked out. They're still in the running. We just kind of look at them each month. So it's not a one time they either get it or they don't. It doesn't work like that. We choose that each month. So feel free to send your nominations in. And anything else you want to add?
Even though sometimes you struggle, remember that you matter.
That's right, you matter. So we're going to spend a little time with Heather. We'll open her gifts and so forth, and we'll take a picture of her with her goodies. And thanks for tuning in, and stay with us, and we'll talk to you again next month.